My name is Christy Cochran, and I am an authorised celebrant. On behalf of the family of Harold Harry Smith, I thank everyone for coming to this ceremony today. Death, in a number of ways, unites us all. Harry's death, for a time, demands that each one of us put aside our toil, our cares, our business, our pleasure, and our folly to unite ourselves with everyone here, fellow mourners who share in the common bond of love and respect for Harry. It is fitting that we should reflect on what we owe to those who have gone before us. Our lives are but the latest notes in a music that began with the birth of humanity itself. Harry Smith was born in Wagen in 1954. He did the limited schooling, which was normal for rural kids of that time. During the mid-1960s, Harry met Martina, then just 8 and 6 respectively, who had just moved to a neighbouring farm. In 1977 they married, the beginning of a long and happy relationship. In the years following, their daughter Tempest and 3 sons Adrian, Christian and Eric were born. Eventually they settled in Bunbury. Harry worked on the boilers in the town. Their children remember their parents as dedicated to their welfare and their education. Their father, who was supported fully by their mother, was a well-read and self-educated man who believed in the best intellectual and human values himself and passed them on to his children. Martina, lovingly looked after by Harry to the end, died in 2016. The loss of his wife, to whom he was so close, left a deep emptiness in Harry's life. During the last 5 years, he suffered from an undiagnosed illness. He gradually lost weight and became worse. Last week he was due to go to hospital. He met his death before he went last Thursday, 18th of March, 2021, doing what he loved best, deep sea fishing. Harry was a happy person, not given to moods or temper. He was an uncomplaining man who took life in his stride and faced it with an even temperament. He was an extremely tolerant and broad-minded person who respected not only the views and convictions of others, but also their feelings and their imperfections. A kind and gentle person who nevertheless had a strong character. He was happiest in what he lived as his true role, that of provider and father. He was hospitable to all, and was in his element providing his visitors with his homemade pickled onions and ginger beer, enjoying their comfort. In fact, he was a superb cook. Not only his family had the benefits of this, but also his friends and the boarders whom he looked after in recent years. Harry was an extrovert who was interested much more in people than he was in things. When he travelled, and he liked travelling, he would strike up a conversation with anyone in a friendly, sociable, and genuinely interested way. He considered himself a citizen of the world, believed in a world community of all men, and rejected discrimination and prejudice in all forms. He was a loving grandfather and delighted in the company of his 4 grandsons, Zale, Dylan, Kai, and Fletcher, teaching them with pride his passion for angling. There are a number of other things I could put on the record about Harry. He enjoyed light music and musical comedy. He liked working in his garden in his house at Capel and got on well with his neighbours. He was known as Mr. S to nearly everybody. He enjoyed TV, his courses at the Council of Adult Education, and his membership of the local men's shed. The note on which I wish to end these comments is the quality which most stands out to me about Mr. S or Harry: his unselfishness. He did not live for himself but for others. He did not buy for himself but for others. On the other hand, he hated being a trouble to anyone or causing anyone else inconvenience, but he would go to no end of trouble for his family, his loved ones and his friends. As I thought about Harry, I had the feeling that I could say, without exaggeration, that there was a man who was a living contribution to people in his world and to their benefit. I will now call on everyone to observe a few moments' silence. Those of you who are believers may care to take this time to pray. Those of you who are not believers may just wish to take this time to reflect on the meaning Harry's life had for you. To the immediate family, to Tempest, Christian, Adrian and Eric and their families, we all extend our deepest sympathy. We come with them as mourners. We share their grief when at other times we grieve over lost opportunities, lost wealth or health. Whenever a loss brings sorrow, it is our part to turn the affliction to some wiser purpose in life or in life's experience. We cannot think of Harry's death without resolving to live a fuller, more meaningful life of our own. Because we loved him, because we are here, even now he exerts his influence on us. His death causes us to get our values into perspective. While we sincerely grieve today because we are parting with someone we have known and loved, we are also faced with the fact that we do not mourn alone. At this very moment, thousands of others are mourning the loss of their loved ones. Many of these have not died in peace, at the end of a full and useful life, such as Harry's. Many have seen their loved ones torn from them by the awful demands of man's inhumanity to man. Bearing in mind the sorrows that others are experiencing today, we come to realize that we are living in a larger world than our own, and that the best way to face the unavoidable fact of death and parting is to take upon our shoulders the troubles of others, to go on working that we may help to remove the existing causes of injustice and preventable sorrows in the world. Please, would Harry's daughter Tempest and eldest son Adrian come forward to read Silent Strong Dad by an author unknown. Thank you, Tempest and Adrian. Let us now take a moment to remember Harry with a collection of photos lovingly put together by his grandson Fletcher. I would now like to invite all who wish to do so to come forward and place a fly from the basket onto the coffin. We shall send Harry off adorned with the beautiful tools of his beloved pastime, deep-sea fishing. Tenderly and reverently, we commit the body of our friend Harry to the purifying fire, and ultimately to Mother Earth, from which all life comes, and to which all life in the end returns. We are grateful for the life that has been lived, and for all that life has meant to each and every one of us. Hereby may we highly resolve that while we live, we will strive with all our might to make our living of real worth and carry on the work that has been laid down. So in the consciousness of work well done and a life well lived, death in the deepest sense can have no sting. We now leave the ashes of our friend in peace. With respect we bid his farewell. Thinking of him, let us leave this place of quietness in quietness of spirit, and live with concern and affection for one another. Thank you for coming, and please join the family at the Bunbury Farmers Market Pavilion for lunch.